My name's Paul. I'm a resident of Wentworth Community Housing at Penrith. I've been here for around 2 years now in social housing, and it's great. I like it. I think one of the big things that people have in regards to low income social housing is that they think we're all bludgers and they think we're all druggies, or we can't handle our financial situations. It's like we need to be nannied, and we don't. I mean, and that's one thing. I think a lot of people, when they immediately they think, oh yeah, you're in Department of Housing, social housing, low income, you spend all your money on drugs, don't you? The only drugs I take are the ones that my doctor says I've got to take, so that my diabetes doesn't play up. I don't drink, so I'm certainly not keeping Lion Nathan family in money. So no VB for me. And at the same time that we're bludgers with this. Well, no, I personally try to get out and help in my community where I can with my Lions Club, or Lions Group. We organise fundraisers and barbecues to raise funds for social groups like the PCYC and the Soup Kitchen, the Nepean Hospital, for scouting groups, for local sporting groups, that we can basically just give them a grant. And I think the stigma that we're just all the same, or that we've all come from broken homes, or that we've all come from bad backgrounds, or that's not a choice that I made. And I think that's, a lot of people just perceive that we have no clue on what we're doing, or that we need to be nannied and all this. And it's like, no, we're looking for a hand up, not a hand out. I feel we've lost our sense of community in many ways. We don't talk to our neighbours. We don't talk to our community, so to speak, and that's important. I think we lose that because we're scared to. And I've noticed, being in here, in the social housing, we say g'day a little bit more. We try at times just to get to know our neighbours. My old neighbour, Peter, I met him, and we met a few times because I accidentally locked myself out one day, and thankfully someone handed my keys to him. We'd been neighbours for about a year. He didn't realise I was his neighbour until we met on the Journey project. And we lived next door to each other. So it was like we lost our sense of community. We didn't know. People don't know. And I think that's a sad thing, because our community is what makes us. My old neighbour Peter comes from Argentina and is an artist. And I found that really interesting, that he does things like that. And so talking to people, you think, oh, he's just some doddery old bloke that just kind of like lives there on his own. But to find out the background of some people, the things he'd done and the people he'd seen, and it'd be the same with me. Some people, we met one of the other guys, Avery. He's like me. He's a big Doctor Who fan. And so we talked and we spoke on different things. And it's interesting. We find out about each other, and it's suddenly your community expands, because you've suddenly found a lot of people, we share a common interest. And I think that's one thing we're losing. We're scared to say to someone, oh, look, I live next door to you type thing, how you going? Because we don't want to intrude. But sometimes expanding our community, we can find out that suddenly a whole lot of people share similar interests. It's like, wow, in society we're made to feel alone, and that's a sad thing. One of the things that we're wanting to also do is organise more of get our community in this building together at times, just so we feel more comfortable around each other, so that we can understand, because it's important that we as a community keep an eye out for residents that at times may be struggling, that we haven't seen them, it could be that they've just been sick for a few days or something like that, just so we keep an eye. So barbecues where we can develop friendships amongst ourselves, so that we don't feel isolated and we don't feel embarrassed if someone asks how you've been, or if someone basically just drops in to see that you're okay. So I think that's important, and I think that the people see us as people. We've all got different backgrounds, we've all got different histories, but we're not all the same. We're not kind of like the bottom end, we're not the low end, we're not the outcast and the drop kicks. We're just like you. Some of us our choices were a bit different, but it doesn't mean that we're any less a person, and it doesn't mean that we're any less important as a person. And I think that's the important thing, that people don't see us all as just scumbags and bludgers. A lot of us would like to be able to help. And in our community, we've been able to do that. We're organising various things in our community. We are trying to organise community barbecues, get-togethers, things like that. We're living in a society where people seem to forget, especially those of us that are getting older, and that it's harder for us at times it's hard to make friends at times because they keep dying on you. And I think that's something that people forget, that those of us that are getting older, and I'm only 52, so I've still got a ways to go, I hope, but there are those that are older that find it harder to have contact with people. We've all got something to give to someone. We're all somebody's son and or daughter, and all of us, we've got families as well. So we're just trying to do what we can, and sometimes we have to make sacrifices for our families. I don't think that we're anything less or that we're not worth it. Yeah, we are.